question with Jim on emerging technologies. This is an area that I'm very excited about because we're looking at ways that can also simplify the emergent process of becoming PCI compliant. And what we're looking at is there a way to maybe change the established boundaries of what is card data environment? So for those that are unfamiliar with the term card data environment, we say that's anywhere that card information can be stored, processed, or transmitted. So from the time it is swiped here in the US or dipped in Europe to the point that it reaches an issuer. Any part of the network that is touching card data information is part of the scope. What we recognize is some of these technologies might have the ability to truly say there's no ability to reverse this information and be able to access card data. And if there is that ability in a demonstrable way to validate there's no way to reverse that, then there's an opportunity to say that the environment which needs to be assessed for security purposes for PCI might be truly minimized. And we think this is going to be a great benefit for merchants. And our focus has been on how merchants could benefit from these types of technologies. So the Council earlier this month released our first document in a series on point-to-point encryption. It's a high overview guidance on where we believe we need to go as an industry, but both in tokenization and in end-to-end encryption, or point-to-point encryption as we call it in the Council, we believe that what is absent in today's market is an ability to validate the true effectiveness of these technologies. We're seeing quite a bit of variety of what people are calling token. We're seeing many different technologies being represented as a token. When we talk about point-to-point encryption and the implementation of encryption, we're seeing a dramatic variation in how the implementation is actually deployed. So what the Council has recognized is the need for definitive guidance to say, this is what we would expect you to be able to demonstrate in order to securely and effectively validate that no card information leaves the smaller condensed card data environment. And we, for the first time ever, have created a roadmap of what the Council believes we can do in the future as far as developing this guidance in coordination. We think that there's opportunities with our devices, there's opportunities within our standards, and there's opportunities for more education and awareness of what those expectations are going to be. So we're going to include that in our training with QSAs. We have merchant training, we'll include that in our merchant training. But the first step is creating validation requirements, because until there's standards, you can't have validation requirements. Until there's validation requirements, you truly cannot have confidence that what is being deployed truly is taking card information and rendering it unreadable. We've had a recent compromise of a merchant that had point-to-point encryption deployed in Europe, in the Pan-Nordic region, and because they did not have all the appropriate mechanisms that we'd be looking at, like monitoring and triggering of certain types of events, they put all their faith in one control, and unbeknownst to them, that encryption was turned off at the terminal, and all of a sudden they were sending clear text PAN data through the internet, and they unfortunately suffered a significant compromise for that. So we're very sensitive that there needs to be quite a few criteria in place in order to reestablish those boundaries. But the Council is moving forward. We have special interest groups, as I mentioned, with our participating organizations that you can join in, and they are actually in the process of writing these requirements with us. And we hope you join us and participate in that action.